Hello everyone, this is Scott with Construction Ready, here to start today a project that you can build in your classroom. It's a little shelf, and when the kids finish and get done with it, they can hang it on their wall on 2 nails on the 2 screw holes that we put in the back, so it hangs on the wall like that. So here's the material we're using, 1x4 pine. And I cut this board 12 inches long, actually 11 7/8, because you have to account for the saw kerf, which will eat away. When you cut it with the electric saw, it's going to eat away about 1/8 of an inch with the width of the saw blade. So I made these 11 7/8, so all the kids get the same size board. So you'll notice that this board is 11 7/8. When you have an 8-foot board, you're going to lose some with your saw kerf. So I mark it 11 7/8. Hopefully you'll have taught students about using a tape measure, how it locks, and so on. The first measurement on this is going to be at 5.5 inches. So students will come down to 5.5. I have students mark with a V mark whenever they're marking, because then they know exactly where the 5.5 mark is. After they do that, then they learn to put their put your pencil point on the point of the mark and slide your speed square, sliding on the top edge right there. Slide it over to your pencil and then slide your pencil down. So I say again, point to point, slide to the pencil, mark your mark. So now we have our 2 pieces, our 5.5 piece, and then have the students practice measuring what's the other one. It'll be 6.5. So, but make them practice measuring all distances on your boards, and that way they get used to using the tape measure in many different situations. The reason I leave the board long is because I'm able to clamp down the board for safety issues. So when students are filing, and this is what they can be doing when others are working with you with the drill or with the saw cutting or saw stations, they can be filing over here, and when I have a longer board, I have much more room to do my work and clamp it down safely. And then the other thing they can be doing here is they're sanding. One way you can sand is like this, call that the beach towel method. Sand with the grain and so on. So for safety, leave your boards long, allow the students to measure and mark, and then you can cut them for them when they're ready and ready to do the final steps in the process. So I have my drill bit ready. This is a 3/4 inch drill bit in here, and you can see that it has a little point right here. It actually guides your drill bit when you start the wood. So when I mark where I'm going to make this letter T at, I'm going to tap a nail in there like that and make a little small hole right where the drill bit's going to go. Right, one right there and one right there. Now your kids might keep pounding on this, but it just is supposed to be just a little mark. Sometimes I will drill one of the holes and let the kids drill 2 holes. So if you look at me, I got my hand on top of the drill, my trigger hand is ready, okay, and I'm going to be pushing with this hand down with the drill. So let's start it slowly. And I need more pressure, so I'm going to here you can see why I left my board longer. It's perfect for this jigsaw to fit flat on here. Jigsaw has a saw blade that goes up and down, and it is the danger zone is down here. So you can either build a guard down here, a little table to guard, or you got to make sure adult is with students always when you use jigsaw, because they need to make sure there's no hand zone down here. So a jigsaw is similar to a drill. Put your hand on top. Hands are out of the way. We're clamped down securely. And we're going to follow that line with the blade. I'm going to use a jigsaw, and I put my square here to help guide my jigsaw along perfectly straight across this. Okay, so now we have our two boards, and while you are working with other students on jigsawing, drilling, and so on, the other students can be filing, sanding, getting their boards ready, and then the only one left is where you cut would be rough and splinters, and that's the only part they'd have to finish. But we're ready for assembly. So the first thing, you don't need glue, but I'm going to put glue on this one right now. It's a mess with the kids, as always, but it just holds it a little bit better. So then this goes here, and your clamp then will be placed right here, and it's going to wiggle around a little bit, but you can always adjust it later. So I'm clamping it down. And now sometimes the board will be tipping over, but you can put another board right here to help hold it up. And one thing you have to do is make sure the front of your board is facing this way, or your letter might be backwards, or your whatever shape you did might not appear the correct direction. So I'm just going to tap this over a little bit. And I'm feeling with my thumbs to see if the back of this board matches the back of this board. I've got a little bit of a gap or space here because this board is 6.5 inches. This board is 5.5. So I'm ready. And so what I do is I take a drill, and to help students be able to hammer better, you can use a nail that they're going to use on this as the drill bit. So I'm going to put that in the drill bit. Students should learn how to use a drill before doing this, and you can have these ready. So I've got a drill bit in here. Now, why am I using a nail for the drill bit? Here's why. Drill bits cost $3–4 a piece. A nail is about a penny. So if they break this, which they do, you will only have to say, okay, let's get a new nail and put it in there. So you save yourself a lot of money and time. And so I'm going to put this on here. Now a student has to be able to look on the end here, because you can't drill in here too far. You'll miss this 3/4 inch board. You got to drill right in the center of that board, right there. So I'm doing. I got everything clamped down. I got my goggles on. Of course, I have my safety glasses. And here's your second nail right there. So now I'm done with my nailing preparation. And then this makes it so much easier for students to put this nail in because you're already halfway through. So here I go. Problem students have is sometimes the tables are too tall. So they'll be hitting this way, if the tables are, but they need their hammer to be hitting straight on, just like that. And these are 1.5 inch nails. That actually simply completes the whole thing. So now we've got our T shape in there, heart, whatever shape the kids want. And I've got my flat platform up here. So here I've made 2 holes to hang this on a wall, using 2 nails that are in the wall. Okay, this is the final step when everybody's done with everything. I use a 3/16 to 5/16 drill bit, and I'm going to drill in to start it out, and then drill up at a 45-degree angle like that. Go to the same point. Teacher should do this, and drill up at a 45-degree point. Now you have your 2 holes for hanging your project. And that's it. Simple shelf with a designed inlay.